Oh, hi there! Welcome to another episode of the Okanagan Gardener and Forager channel. It's getting late in the season, kind of getting late into fall, so most gardening is over for the year. So, thanks for watching. See you later! Okay. This time of year is a great time of year to plant things like perennials, move perennials, plant perennials, or things like bushes and trees. So that's what I'm doing today. Today I'm going to be planting some blueberries. Maybe you didn't know this, blueberries are relatively new to farming. They're native to North America, and before the 1900s, the only way you would have been able to eat or find blueberries would have been out foraging in the wild. And in the 20th century, farmers, scientists started developing them for commercial production and farming. So now you can enjoy them in your yard or on your farm or wherever you decide to plant them. Here is my proposed little blueberry patch. I've got two varieties of both, which are of the northern, they're highbush varieties of the northern subgroup, bluecrop and bonus. So, blueberries can self-pollinate, but they get bigger and better berries if you cross-pollinate them. And you cross-pollinate them with another of the same species or like subgroup. So there are three types. There's highbush, lowbush, and rabbit-eye, I think it is. There's also a half-high hybrid. And so if you want to, you need to pick varieties of the same group. So what I've got here are all northern highbush variety. So say if you were going to be planting lowbush, then you would have to pick different varieties from that group. And what I've taken the northern ones partly because they're the ones that are available at the local nursery, but also these ones are cold hardy, and being in the Okanagan where it can be, I've seen it classified as zone 4, but really zone 6 or 7, they should do well here. A little something about choosing where to plant a blueberry. The first thing, full sun is better. Blueberries are shade tolerant, but full sun is better, you get better production. I have a tree in the way here, but I think that tree may not survive the winter. Other things to consider, they are shallow rooted, so I'm planting them on this slope here, and I think that might be helpful because it should hopefully keep them sheltered from the wind a little bit. Blueberries like acidic soil, and you could do a soil pH test, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add sawdust, and I hope that'll help make it a little more acidic. And I'm going to mulch to protect, and well, I guess I'll show you all the things. I'll show you what I'm going to do as I do it. Full sun, they can tolerate some shade, protect them a little, and yes, acidic soil. So here's the hole that I've dug, and you could do it maybe 20 inches deep and 18 inches wide, or in my case, or you could do, double the width and double the height of the root ball. So I don't know. It's not an exact science, and that's what I'm going to do some things to the hole still, but I'm going to amend the soil somewhat with some berry specific fertilizer, some of the free compost I got from the dump in Vernon, and I'm going to add in a bunch of sawdust. So how much of this stuff? I'm using a precise measurement, about that much. And how much compost? Another precise measurement. I'm adding until I think it's enough. And sawdust. I'm adding sawdust, something else that would have been good to add would have been peat moss, but I don't have any. So I'm adding the sawdust and the compost as organic matter. And I added the fertilizer as well. It might not have been necessary, but if the sawdust were more composted, maybe I wouldn't have added it. I probably would have anyway, but because as the sawdust breaks down, it can pull nitrogen away from the roots, so I'll add some. I added some fertilizer to, in my mind, even that out a little bit. But the sawdust or the peat moss would be good, as it stimulates, you know, microbial activity, soil health, and all that good stuff. And then I'll put it back in the ground. Something I think is a good practice while planting things, I like to put some water at the bottom of the hole before I put something else in there, just to try to keep the moisture level consistent. Bone meal, another precise measurement. And more sawdust. Like I said before, peat moss would have been good, but they're all sold out of it this time of year. Now, I just sort of go back and forth as I go, and it's a little awkward here because I'm on a slope, but I'm trying to get it so that the root ball is not below the surface. It can go like maybe ½ inch or an inch, but you don't want to have it too deep. So I might add in a little more soil until I get it up to the right level. But near the bottom of the root ball, I wanted that bone meal and sawdust, and I'll probably mix those up a little bit too. Okay, I think I'm about ready to plant. I might wiggle it around a little bit to get it to the height I want. I'm going to try to get it so it's a little bit above, because I put a bunch of organic matter in here, so I expect it'll sink over time, and I don't want it to be under. I don't want the bottom of the plant to be underground. So anyways, I'll work on that. But I wanted to talk about the root ball. So the roots are maybe a little pot bound, not too bad. So what to do before putting it in is to try to loosen it up a little bit. And you know, I don't think this one's too bad really, but what can happen if it's really pot bound is the roots kind of just grow in around the plant instead of growing out into the soil, which is what I want. So I'll try to loosen them up, loosen it up a little bit, and you know, it's kind of a fine line because I don't want to upset the roots too much, but I do want to, you know, because it stresses out the plant, right? But I do want to encourage it to grow outwards rather than into the plant itself. So I would be satisfied with that, but you know, maybe you'd want to break it up more or whatever. Then I'll put it back in. Now that I've done that, I think I need to add in some more soil underneath, which I'll do. I like to water as I'm planting it, and maybe you'll be able to see why. Because I water, you know, go layer by layer, water and I've already packed it down pretty tight, so it might not have the same effect right now, but as I go, it looked flat before, but then with watering, the water helps it, it flattens it down a little more. And because I am not wanting it to be below the surface and I'm expecting it to sink, as I water it, the outside dirt squishes down a little, and now I'll need to add a little bit more on top. Okay, the blueberries planted, the first one, and I've mulched with sawdust. And yes, blueberries root shallowly, so mulching helps keep protect them a little bit, keeps moisture in, and the sawdust is one of the best types of mulch for blueberries. So if it were composted, that might be better because it'd be more broken down. One of the things that happens with it is as it breaks down, it can pull nitrogen from the soil. So what I will do is in the spring, I'll add just a general, like a 20-20-20 fertilizer, like it's a higher nitrogen fertilizer. I'll do that in the spring. And what would also be a really good type of mulch for blueberries would be these types of, say, pine needles, but I've got them around my my hazelnuts that I planted, so I didn't have any left. Now, to get the cross-pollinating from blueberries, they should be close enough together so that bees can make a quick trip among the bushes. So about 3 or 4 feet away, I'm starting my next hole for my next blueberry bush. Axel and Adam, what are you doing?
Digging.
Digging for what?
Plant blueberries.
How is it?
Good. Oh, I think I found a rock.
One thing I forgot to say about the mulch. Mulch should be mulch to the drip line, and the drip line is where the branch comes out and then water would drip down. That's as far as you should mulch. I went farther on this side. I tend to do that with mulch. Nice work, boys.
There's a rock. It's impossible to get out.
Axel, is that rock impossible to get out?
Almost. Well, it's giant.
Lily's supervising.
What did you
Hey, Lil.
What did you eat it?
There it is. A patch of blueberries. The mulch is about somewhere between 2 to 4 inches thick, and blueberries apparently like it when they're in a group. I'd imagine that kind of the thinking is trying to recreate their natural environment, maybe in a clearing or something, so the wood chips are probably simulating that. Anyways, what I'll do, I already said it, but next spring I'll put some fertilizer on early in the spring, and I won't prune probably for a year or 2. All of these blueberries came from our local nursery, and what I would think, for whatever there is going on in the world, one thing that I think is always going to be consistently true is we should support local. So these came from the local Cal Lake nursery in Lake Country, they were really nice and gave me some deals, and they're closed now for the season, but they even said give them a call, and they'll probably check their message and maybe even help you out. So yeah, I would suggest that if you can, at any time you can, support local. Anyways, if you liked this video and thought it was useful, then please give it a thumbs up. And you still have time to plant, so get going. Thanks for watching.